I wouldn't have this wisdom, I wouldn't have this power, I wouldn't have this passion that I have towards life, towards people, but also this clarity.
Welcome to Working Women Mentor, a podcast where you will find a mentor moment in every episode. We are meeting incredible women from around the world with real stories and learning from the moment that changed it all for them. I'm your host, Rainey Alfers, and I'm ready to introduce you to our next guest. Welcome to Working Women Mentor. I'm Rainey Alfers, your host, and I'm excited to introduce you to our guest, Riya Sokół. She's all the way from Poland. Yes, our global audience of listeners and ladies. She reached out, her team reached out, and we said, absolutely, we have to let you meet our audience because Riya is a public speaker. She's a meditation-focused individual with a background in psychology, and she trains and works with people every day on personal development, spirituality, and being very candid about mental health. And that is a topic very near and dear to my heart. My mother, the way I grew up and watching her suffer from hers, I know it can be painful for you if you have it and for those around you. She shares a really honest journey. She shares the ways that she was able to uplift herself, break some patterns. And these are tips and advice that I've shared already with a near and dear friend going through a major life change. So this episode is something unique. It's incredible. And I promise you, you or someone you know is going to benefit from listening in. So without further ado, let's jump in and meet Riya. Here we go. Riya Sokół, I really appreciate you joining us today on Working Women Mentor. How are you doing today?
I am doing amazing. I had an incredible day. It's night already, but as you said, thanks to this magical internet, we can meet at any time.
Isn't it wonderful that we can just connect all the way around the world and meet other women and all with the same mission of mentorship? So that's what I'm excited to talk with you about today, Riya. Would you please introduce yourself to our audience in your own words?
I would love to. So, my name is Riya, and I'm a public speaker artist, and I am passionate about exploring subjects around our subconscious mind and how it impacts our beliefs, ideas about life, our attitude, and our money, our relationships, and so forth. So, this is what I'm exploring, and this is what I'm sharing with my audience.
And I want to hear so much more about that because your passion and your subjects are very specific, but so broad in what they cover in our life. And I know that you've done a lot of research on these areas. But since you are so far around the world from us and we're just meeting you today, did you have an opportunity to text a friend and see how they would describe you in your own words?
Yes, I did. The thing that is mostly repeated is celebration because I am crazy about celebrating. Even when it comes to taxes, I celebrate. So it is my thing, and this is what was the most common thing.
That is so funny. That's actually something I'm known for. I grew up in Louisiana in the US and we celebrate everything. A harvest, I mean, just anything you can think of a topic on, we love to celebrate it. So I can completely resonate with that.
I love that.
So let's talk a little bit about your journey because you have come so far. You've done different things in your career, but you're finding your passion now. You're able to speak and share the message to others. How did you get started in this field? Walk us through where you are on your career journey.
I would say that I started when I was 6 because this is when I came on the stage as a child. I was this little star that was performing in front of thousands of people. I was traveling around the world. I was singing and dancing. And I think what I was experiencing on the stage shaped me and maybe a little bit conditioned me also because I really got addicted to seeing people happy when I'm on the stage. I started to deeply believe that this is what makes them happy. It is one of my most deep and incredible beliefs that I still experience. And because what we believe in is actually happening, is actually what we're manifesting. I guess that this is how I'm manifesting it. And my journey was pretty spectacular because I got offended a little bit at some point when I was a teenager and I was rebellious and I was having also a lot of emotional problems, anxiety and sleeplessness and eating disorder as a dancer, always wanted to be slim. So I had problems with that. And I went through a journey. But then at some point, I was like, okay, I am dedicating myself. I want to sing. I want to be on the stage. I want to be international famous woman who is on the stage and who is making this world a better place, who is making an impact. And I'm going to leave a legacy. And the moment that happened, I had an incredible success, which was my first song that got released. I was unknown and I became famous like this. Right afterwards, I got very ill with depression. I felt I collapsed completely. And from there, it was like a spiraling down because obviously then I started to have health problems and I had to do the whole healing. And I couldn't understand how is it possible that the moment I dedicated myself, I said, I'm doing it. And I had such an incredible success. I received such a horrible and really dangerous disaster that happened in my life. It was hard to understand back then, but now after years, it makes so much sense because I wouldn't have this wisdom, I wouldn't have this power, I wouldn't have this passion that I have towards life, towards people, but also this clarity that can take anyone from hell to paradise. I have absolutely no doubt.
It's interesting to me, Ria, because you had this clarity at age 6, right? You're performing, you're believing that this is what I'm meant to do. And that is clarity in itself at such a young age. And to be able, like you said, to get to do this, but then to experience that shock to your system once you've reached what you thought was your pinnacle. But the great thing is, it wasn't your pinnacle, was it?
No. This was part of what I wished for.
Yeah.
This was like, are you sure? And I said, yes. And then it wasn't like a month. It was years. I also got diagnosed after a few months of suffering and of not knowing what's happening to me. And then it was years of healing, years of digging, years of going up and then down again. And the depression was coming back. So I was living for some time. When I recovered, I still was living in an anxiety that it will come back. So I had to heal this part too, of really getting deep into the meaning of life, into the sense of what I'm doing here and how much power I have.
It's that final stage. We sometimes feel like, well, okay, it's all over now. We're good, but it's not over yet. Like my father, he's recovering from pancreatic cancer and he has a clear bill of health at this moment. And that's so exciting. But I know that little piece in him is thinking, will it come back? Will this happen again? Will the scan be clean the next time? And I'm sure anyone listening who's gone through anything like this has dealt with that. And I guess that brings me to your topic of conscious thinking, conscious living. Tell us about that because it sounds like these two things are relatable.
This is something that I think we have a choice. And there is this incredible movie called Matrix that shows it very beautifully because it's at some point you have to decide. I know many people who are not choosing the pill that will open your eyes. It's like, I prefer to live here. It's safe, it's known, it's predictable, but at least I know what to expect. Then there is another pill. After you take it, it's like there is no way back to unsee what you saw. And this is the moment when you decide to start living consciously. And that means you start seeing things in a different way from different perspectives. You become curious, and the more curious you are, the less you know. The more you know, the less sense it makes. The more you know, the less it is what you thought it is. And it takes courage to do it. I was curious since I was a child. I preferred to spend the whole night talking to my dad about Einstein because he was maniac about it. Like he was obsessed with Einstein. So I was speaking about quantum physics and physics since I was a child, about psychology of mechanisms of the human mind. So I was always curious.
And if you're thinking about taking that pill, so if someone's listening out there and they're thinking, okay, yeah, that sounds great. But how do I get from my safe, comfortable, I know what my life is like and what I'm experiencing to the other side where I don't know? How does someone make the leap? It's easy to say just leap, but how can we encourage? How can we move folks in that direction? Because I'm guessing they have to be ready for it, right?
I can tell you what I did. This is my recipe. As I told you, I said loud and clear and boldly, I said I'm ready. I'm doing it.
You just put it out there in the universe.
It was not even someone in the room, but that from me. It's like I said it out loud. This is when I understood, when they say in spirituality that you are the whole universe? This is when I realized what it actually means. Because I only said it to myself. I swear, no one was in the room. Then I wrote it down. It was 2012. I literally feel like I didn't do anything else. And this is when things started to get incredible, weird, suspicious, not making sense, crazy, amazing.
It was a lightning strike. At once you said no one else was around me, but in fact, that's all we need in the room, isn't it? That's really all you needed in the room, just you and yourself and that courage that came out of you, shouting to the rooftop. And I think that's a great suggestion. Sometimes you ever have a morning where it's like, oh, I don't want to get out of bed today, or I'm a little tired. I could use some extra sleep, but we need to do it. Sometimes I just say to myself, 1, 2, 3, go, right? You just have to do it. But I say it out loud. No one's there listening. And it helps me with that internal energy of momentum, I think. So kind of gets me going.
When you're talking about not wanting to get out of bed, I really can tell something about it. And I literally started with talking to myself. I was convincing myself that it's worth waking up, that it's worth living. This is how despaired I was. This is how much close to death I was, that I literally had to force my body because I wasn't able to smile. So sometimes you need to really hit this dark place to force yourself. But I want to emphasize, like, when you decide to do this move to, like, I decide I change, you don't necessarily have to end up like I did. You don't have to.
Right. You don't have to be even where you started.
Especially because I went through that and I'm teaching people and I'm mentoring people how to navigate life because I have this wisdom, I have this experience. This is when people can actually find a shortcut because I was spiraling down and I had a chance to stop it earlier, but I didn't do it. I didn't choose this chance. It was almost like I was so curious what, like, subconsciously, I was literally curious what will take me from there? What is there? And who will save me from there? And I swear I got disappointed because no one did. Disappointed. And at the same time, as I said, I found my power. So this was totally the biggest gift, but also the biggest hell. And you definitely, after making this decision, after making like this, even do this thing, do it today whilst you're listening to us. I decide that I'm ready to take my life to the next level, to live the life of my dreams, to earn the money that I actually dream of, to find or create a relationship that is magnificent and makes me smile every day. Decide now, just write it down and see what happens.
Yeah, repeat after me. I love it. You heard it right here. You're leading this balanced life, this life of energy and focus and consciousness. How have you incorporated meditation into your journey?
It was actually the first thing that I started with was meditation, and it was in 2005. Not many people knew what meditation was. I didn't know what meditation was, but I remember that this was the first time in my life when I didn't feel the anxiety inside of me. So this was the moment when I realized that my whole life I was living in a chronic anxiety since I remember it. And then during this first session, because it was one-on-one session of meditation, I was like, so this is possible not to feel like that? I was angry. Like, I wasn't even happy. I was angry because it just blew my mind.
But it's like, where has this been all my life? Because I could have had a different life if I'd have had this earlier on. When you're so used to feeling chronic in whatever way it is, you don't know any other way. That's all you know how to feel, isn't it?
Exactly. So I knew that meditation is going to be crucial for me. And this was the hook. I want to feel like that because, of course, the moment we finished the session, the habit came back, like the default state of my body and my conscious mind. It was like this. And the teacher told me, so now what is possible for you? And now you have to find your way, get there by yourself. I cannot describe my rage after I left the session. I was like, what do you mean I paid you money? But this is when my journey started. And then, of course, I did all kinds of silent retreats, darkness retreats, vipassana, like detox, like food detox and not talking, a lot of sitting and just sweating. I realized that I am the person, I am the voice that can navigate my own mind. This is what I had to understand. I thought I am my mind, and I thought that what I think is what is. So that's almost like I was creating, I was building, I don't know the English word, but step by step, I was sewing this new voice who was like, I'm going to be bigger than everything that is running here in your mind.
It's like you're creating the fabric. You're sewing it all together and building an internal picture. I love what you said. That voice in my head is what navigates me. Isn't that a strong statement? And through meditation, I'm curious, how would you suggest we incorporate this into our daily life? How does someone get started? How do we find our voice that helps us?
The easiest thing, I would say, if you want a very easy thing,
We all like easy sometimes, Ria.
because there are so many ways. And the easy thing that I give as a present to my audience is I recorded something that is called codes. And the codes is my voice recorded, and my voice is recorded in a specific state that I was when I was recording it. And there are 12 subjects that the codes are about. So there are codes about love, abundance, freedom, relationship, self worth, heart connection. They have around 10 minutes. And as I said, like this is being spoken by the voice that navigates me. And this voice is informing you're worthy, you're amazing, you're ready, you're the creator. Your heart is the biggest gift. Your love is all around you. This is something that I called codes because it's like the code to put into our system to reprogram your belief system, like everything that you want to change. And I would definitely start with this because it takes you to a very meditative state, but also activates you. It doesn't take you like down and into relaxation. It's more like you get focused. And this was my tool for many years. And then I said, okay, it works. I'm going to share it with my audience. And I recorded it both in Polish and English. So this is where I would start in an easy way.
Where can we find it, Ria? Is it on your site or?
It's everywhere. YouTube, it's on Spotify, iTunes, like all the platforms.
We will be linking it to this episode so everyone can find it even easier and hear your voice to help us. It's time for a quick sponsored ad from EMK Skincare. It's my skincare secret I swear by and love it so much, I bought the company. EMK was founded over 30 years ago in Beverly Hills and is crafted from science-backed research of human placenta and the bioidentical properties to placenta found in nature. High-potency, plant-powered formulas with clinically proven ingredients. Anti-aging is just not realistic, but healthy aging skin is. And it's why this brand is loved by dermatologists, plastic surgeons, estheticians for its healing ingredients and reduced downtime after procedures. It's my secret to glowing skin, even on my busiest days, my travel days, and my longest work days. Visit emkskincare.com to sign up for emails and receive 15% off your first purchase. Now back to the episode. So, speaking of mentorship, have you had someone in your life that was a mentor figure to you? Some people say, no, I haven't had anyone, but it's these small moments sometimes, isn't it, that can play a really significant role?
I had so many mentors. My first biggest mentors are my children, for sure. They taught me so much and they just, yeah, they gave me so many lessons. But I think my first biggest mentor was this incredible guru from India. He was living in this very tiny ashram. somewhere in India, like no one can ever know where it is. I don't even know where it is, but I spent many weeks with him and he didn't speak English. So I was literally like, I was learning from him and his whole community without words. And I think this is what shaped me tremendously. I learned so much. I learned what energy is. I learned what celebration is. I learned what it means to live your day and treat it like it's a miracle. I learned so much wisdom, so much depth. Because also when you're not talking, or they were actually singing. So there was a lot of singing in their own language.
Which you love. You love that
Very
singing
well.
and performance.
Yes.
Yes, that spoke to you.
This was the transmission, and I even have, and actually he died literally months ago, and I have
Oh,
his whole writing on my arm as a honor and just remembering how it all started and what is actually the depth of this life, that my first mentor wasn't talking to me, and this was profound experience. And yeah, he just passed away. This was my first mentor. And I had many mentors. I was learning from Tony Robbins. I was learning from Joe Dispenza. Then I had an incredible mentor, Melanie and Layer. And I would say that they were like a trampoline for me because they were pointing things and they were really showing me pieces of me and guiding me to myself, to my own potential. Yeah, I'm going down to all of them.
yeah, it sounds like you've taken a little bit or even a lot in some cases from how people are able to almost reflect back these qualities and these things about life that you have within you, even that maybe you were unaware of. And it's so interesting to me that you can find it all the way in a little bitty area in India that no one knows about. How do you suggest we as working women, we as just people in general, best find mentorship and receive it, because you found it in the most unique ways and in the most unique places? How would you encourage someone to keep their eyes open and experience the same as you?
I think one of the things that really opened me to be led, to be taught, was that I had to stop judging. It was like, it's not what I had to start, it was what I had to stop. And once I stopped judging and having opinions about other people, my eyes became clearer and my path became more abundant with people who were incredibly wise, incredibly mature, and experienced. So I think this is one of the main things that I had to do. My first step was stop judging where they are, maybe be curious about how they got there.
How did you know you were judging people? Because most people don't ever admit that, Ria.
I was feeling that I don't like people.
Well, that's a good way to realize that, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And at some point, I was like, I don't like anybody. It was really hard for me to find someone that I like. And and I was like, hold on, there is something happening here. And there is this beautiful practice that is called the shadow work. And it says that the things that you get triggered by or don't like are probably the things that you, once you get curious about them, you can take a lot from them. So I learned that later, but this is what helped me. Like at some point, I hit the wall of feeling like I don't like anybody, literally. Okay.
That's well said and very vulnerable for you to admit. So thank you. Thank you for that. Well, so take us through the day in the life of what it is like to be you, to have this incredible speaking career, to be the mentor that you are. What does that look like behind the scenes in Ria's world?
Ah, it looks amazing. Really, it's so good to be me. I live fast for sure. So it's not that I don't have time. It's just that I'm very focused and I'm very, very dedicated. I'm very clear. I was just, as I was waiting for you, I literally very fast recorded the words that came to me because I hear very often that rich people or people on the stage, we have this idea about successful people that they don't have time. They are busy. And I must say, now that I feel a successful woman, it's not true that I don't have time. I just am very focused in how I'm navigating my time and utilizing my time. I'm very clear about what I want to do and what I don't want to do. I'm very clear about what I want to get distracted by and not. The other day, my daughter came to me when I was doing something really important and I was like really having a deadline. And she came to me and she just started telling me the story about what happened in her class, that this other friend had a fight with this friend and then the next friend came, and the whole story was like, I was listening to this and it was like, 1 second, I want to listen to that because this is what I'm choosing, even if I have deadline. Because the first thought, I don't have time for that.
Yeah, that's what we're all thinking at that point. Yeah.
Then I was like, okay, it's fast decision. What is more important for me? What is not even important, but what is more precious in terms of quality? And I was like, okay, I give up. Like, this is my, like, repeat again. Which friend with which friend? Draw it for me on a paper, you know?
I love that.
And it was like, okay. And I got into that. It took me 10 minutes. And after 10 minutes, she explained it all to me. And then she went away. I just wanted to tell you that. And then she's gone. This is all she wanted from me. She just wanted me to be in like 100%. And it took me 10 minutes. Otherwise, she would keep talking and I would be getting frustrated and angry. And it would be the whole drama pearl. But this took me 10 minutes. I didn't lose anything, but it was a conscious choice.
I think it's nice that you've created your filter for how you're spending your time. As you said earlier, successful people and unsuccessful people, we all have 24 hours in the day. We all have the same amount of time, regardless of your success. It's how we're choosing to spend it. It's a great story because we can all relate to those interruptions because it's almost like our first reaction is always, just give me 10 or 15 minutes. I love how you refocused for a moment, took a breath, and then realized, hey, this person right in front of me needs me. She's my priority, and I can do this, and it's not going to change anything. And she's also going to walk away thinking, oh, my mom's great. She gives me the attention. She's there for me. She listens to me. I mean, it's such a win win, Ria. It's part of communication, and communication is vital in terms of professional life and personal life. And you've had to learn and master this skill, I'm sure, as a public speaker and really for your career. What skill sets do you think women can use to hone this communication skill and help them effectively connect and get what they want and be who they want?
I practiced with incredible partner the communication and it was myself. I literally was talking to the mirror and I was practicing. And this was my first tool. Like, how do I want to have conversations? Especially that I knew that I had voices in my head. We all have voices. I realized that. I admitted it. I acknowledged it. And then from there, I was able to consciously choose what I'm going to do about it. I could be angry, I could be frustrated, but then I found this tool. I'm just going to sit in front of you. Sometimes I was going mad with the voice. So sometimes I was just sitting, I was like, okay, let's talk because I'm just getting I'm getting so annoyed with
Yeah,
you.
you're winning right now.
And from here, I started talking, and I realized that the more I talk to myself, like out loud, whatever you think about it, however you judge it, I was sitting in front of the mirror and I was loudly with my voice, just like now, I was talking to myself and arguing with myself. So I was practicing how do I argue with myself in the most effective way. And this is how I started kind of project it onto other people and communication with other people. And the second tool is that very often we are not proud of how we communicate, or we know that we want to change it, but we think we catch ourselves after it's done. So let's say we meet now and we have some kind of argument. And then I'm saying, you know what? There is no point in talking to you. It's useless. You don't get it. It's just, that's fine. And I leave. And then I sit in my room and the emotions are calming down and I start to shrink because I'm like, God, we didn't resolve the problem. I said really mean things to you. So my tool was that instead of feeling guilty and getting into the spiral of I'm wrong, she's wrong, making excuses, explaining myself, getting angry, and so forth, I did this incredible practice called rewriting. And you can do it either alone or with the person, because at some point I had this agreement with other people, like close people, like my partner or my children. I was honest. I was coming back and I was just saying, you know what? I'm so not proud of what just happened. I feel so disappointed with myself and us. Do you mind actually doing rewind and going through the same conversation in a way that we can be proud of this conversation? And this can happen after the emotions are down, but it really works and it makes sense. So then, even if it looks crazy, okay, so this is what you said, and then I said this, and then I said, okay, so let's do it. And it's literally, you are behaving like an actor, so it might look artificial, not honest, not authentic, but you still do it. I cannot even tell you how many times I've done it with my kids.
I like it. No, it's good advice because you're thinking rationally. You're also thinking about the other person. You're trying to be very present in that conversation.
Yeah. And as I said, like sometimes it's not possible to do it with this person, or maybe you feel shy or embarrassed or irrational. That's fine. You can just close your eyes and you can just imagine it happening. Or you can write it down, or you can play it with yourself in the front of the mirror. Like whatever works for you, please do it, because it might sound crazy, but it's incredibly powerful and transforming tool. So I highly recommend doing it.
I love that. I love that. Thank you. So, Ria, what is your mentor moment that you want to share with our audience today? It's that one thing that you want people to take away, that's something that may have helped you, changed you, but it's something you know that you can give forward.
Oh, definitely. There is one shortest motto of mine, and it's happening. No matter what you're thinking about wanting to do and why it's not coming, like I can answer to you, it's happening. Like it's coming. So it's like a code. Whenever you're like, okay, so how do I do it? How do I get there? Why it's not happening? Why everyone else have it and I don't? How do I start? It's happening.
I love that. You're already there. It's happening right now. Don't think about it not even happening. It's already there right with you, right in front of you.
Yes.
Riya Sokół, you've been wonderful today. Your energy and the way you have reminded us to think consciously, to know that we can come from the good, the bad, the ugly. It's how we're looking at ourselves, though. It's that voice in our mind is something really beautiful. So, where can everyone find you?
I am all over the place.
All over the globe, in fact, right?
Everywhere. Like when you type my name, you can find me everywhere, on my website, on YouTube, on TikTok, on Facebook, on Instagram, everywhere. You can find my articles, you can find my music, you can find me speaking and coding. You can find my reels in both in Polish and in English, codes both in Polish and in English, songs both in Polish and in English. Like I did everything everywhere, and I keep going and I keep creating. So just remember my name.
Riya Sokół, we will. We will definitely remember it and follow your journey in Poland and wherever it takes you next. So thank you so much for being a guest today. We really appreciate it.
I loved talking to you. Thank you so much for invitation.
Before you go, a huge thank you for being a part of this episode. I hope it left you with a spark of inspiration. And if you haven't already, hit that follow button and subscribe button to stay connected. Now is a great time. Your reviews are the heartbeat of our podcast. So if you enjoyed what you heard today, a review would really mean the world to us. Let's keep this conversation going as well on Instagram at Rainy Alphers. Visit us at rainyalphers.com for all episodes, show notes, and also to express your interest to be a guest. Please sign up. We'd love to hear from you. And until next time, I'll see you back on Working Women Mentor.